Slayer of crabs. Wow. Big frozen bits. Ooh, that. And Ichthyans, I am a Tempest. That's an undead horse. Easy. What's up, guys? Just finished my lightning bolt Tempest. If you guys don't know anything about a Tempest is Storm Mastery and Warfare Mastery. In this build, we are using lightning bolt. I'll show you what that is here as our main skill. In the Storm Mastery tree, you want to focus on lightning bolt for this build. The way we're speccing this out, you can see the most important bit is weapon attack lightning bolt. Otherwise, it's a spell. You can see over here, ranged attack. If you take that off, it becomes a spell. This is the default way it works. You can already see based on our gear. As a spell, it's 4K damage. As weapon, it's 7K, up to 7K damage, right? So we definitely want to use weapon attack. That means that you should have a good weapon in order to take advantage of this. But that's the way we're speccing it out. You full send this, 17 points. Don't think about it, just do it. Weapon attack. After that, work on rage. And then after that, you want either electric burst for single target or additional projectiles. Right, for AoE cleave. When you attack a target, it splits into a couple of projectiles. When you add additional projectiles, it adds more. And then electric burst, it builds up these ticking lightning stacks. So this is much better for single target. It's not going to matter too much, but just know that that's the way you switch around your damage. You can take Lightning Fury. This will delete your energy, and you won't be able to spam it. You can play around with that on other builds. In this build, we're not focusing on Lightning Fury. Overload is important. It will give additional projectiles, but more importantly, it will also scale the damage based on the amount of stacks of overload you have. If you guys don't know what overload is, here, let me move my fat head. You take 1.5 max health per stack, but it also deals more damage per overload, right? You can cleanse your overload. Remember, overload is kind of a negative debuff. You will hurt yourself based on the amount of overload stacks you have. 1.5% of your HP is dealt as fire and lightning damage. You can resist this. You can get passives that help you take less damage from it. But just know, the more stacks you have, the more HP you drain. So anyways, that'll give you a lot more damage, 20% more damage, right? So it's pretty nice there. Lightning strikes is also something we're focusing on. 30% chance to trigger lightning strikes. There's a tooltip underneath this. A target is struck by lightning, deals lightning damage based on your character level. And not in this tooltip, you can obviously scale it by % lightning damage. So lightning strikes is pretty juice. You'll see this on, anytime you dash, you have a chance to proc it. There's all kinds of ways you can proc lightning strikes. Inside this skill, you can proc lightning strikes as well. So that's our lightning bolt setup. It's a pretty nice skill. This is the basis of our skill. There's other things you could pick up. Another core tenet of this build is Storm Nimbus. This is a buff. It's a sustained buff that grants you % cold and % lightning damage. You just like, it's super good. The most important one is Storm Enhancement. This is more percentage of cold and lightning damage. Obviously, Lightning Bolt is lightning damage, so you want to scale that up. Thunderstorm, here's our Lightning Strike again. This increases. Editor, cut that out. I don't know what happened. Thunderstorm increases Lightning Strike damage by 60%. You want to max that out 3 out of 3. Also, it says every 2 seconds you have a chance to hit random enemy in the area with Lightning Strike. It's huge. You just take it. It's just free damage. Lightning Strikes proc all the time. It's really easy and free damage. Another one here is Lightning Imbuement. You don't have to play with this. I kind of prefer it because of the flat lightning damage. At level 40, we're dealing 11 flat lightning damage with 1 capacity or 2 capacity slots for this Lightning Imbuement. It also converts your weapon damage. I don't want to jump the gun, but we're using a pretty nice bow for this build. You can use a spear with Thunderbolt, and you can use a bow, and you can use a staff with weapon attack, Thunderbolt, Lightning Bolt. So if your weapon does a lot of, let's say, flat lightning damage, there's no need to convert via Storm Nimbus. But just know that even if it does flat lightning damage, this will add even more flat lightning damage to your weapon. So just look at your weapon. If it does a good amount of lightning damage, you can save some points here, right? You don't need to use it. In our build, I quite like it. For the rest of our actives, it's kind of up to you guys. It's always nice to pick up some points in Blink. It's always nice to pick up some points in Ice Nova in case you get surrounded. Ice Nova, it does AoE freezing. 1 point in Flash Freeze means that you always freeze targets. The guaranteed freeze is really, really nice. It's worth 2 capacity slots for that, in my opinion. Frost Explosion, you deal flat cold damage if you want. It's pretty nice. You can get a cooldown charge if you want. You can get more ailment if you want. It's kind of up to you guys. But if you're gonna 2-point it, that's what I would recommend. Just get Flash Freeze while you're leveling. That's super easy. Blinking around, you always want repeat as soon as you can. But Blink is a movement skill. You can teleport basically all over the map. Kind of dealer's choice. Engage is kind of nice. When you use it after for a short period of time, you get 40% reduced damage taken. And with 2 points of repeat we're on about. With 2 points of repeat, you can kind of string along this engage as you're clearing the map, and kind of like 3 different uses get your reduced damage up. It's kind of nice. This is just your bread and butter movement skill, though. I'm not using Cyclone. You guys could probably use it. The localized storm, or actually thunderstorm, would be really good in this build because this is the other source of easy lightning strike damage. I'm not using that. It's kind of up to you. It's really all about your weapon with Lightning Bolt. For passives in Storm, it's a no-brainer here. You just want Storm Attunement. This is % lightning damage. Big. The 2 feats, projectile damage, Lightning Bolt becomes projectile, and weapon damage. Obviously, it's scaling off of our weapon. The more weapon damage we can have, the better. You could try out spell damage here, but the only thing that's going to scale from it is the lightning strikes. So, if you're leaning a little bit more into lightning strikes, try out the spell damage, but weapon damage is a no-brainer. We don't have anything in tier 1. That's the only tier 2 one we have. You can, if you find yourself with spare points, you could try to pick up Storm Guidance. This is 10% projectile damage and 5% per point, right? But there's no good feats. Maybe penetration for AoE cleave, but there's just no good feats. So kind of up to you guys. Tier 3, you absolutely want Lightning Evoker. Whenever you use an active skill, there's a 45% chance to hit with lightning strikes. So you want this passive. You want to be having these chances to proc lightning strike. It's just free damage. The feats are also incredible. I'll show you why here in a second. It's all about damage. Here's our lightning strike damage, 40% increased lightning strike damage. This one here also gives rage overflow. When you overflow with rage, 15% chance to hit an enemy with lightning strikes. So you just want to get your lightning strikes up. This one here is the ailment. We're not doing ailments. And if you do ailments with lightning, shock is just not very good. It's just not very good. So you absolutely want lightning evoker and overcharge. The reason we take overcharge, remember earlier, lightning bolt has overload, 55% increased damage with overload abilities. So that's why lightning bolt's big with overload. The first feat, increased duration of overload. That's a little scary, but you take less damage from overload by 15%. That's pretty nice. 2% increased lightning damage per overload. So you might be tempted to full stack up overload charges. I found, like I said before, 2 out of 3 is good enough. 3 out of 3 is a little scary. I'm playing hardcore. If you're playing softcore, who cares? Try it out, you know. But yeah, your health will start to teeter quite a bit. Okay, so Raging Storm is up next. Tier 3 Raging Storm. Increased damage and increased rage effect. It's a no-brainer. Say less, you know. We're stacking up rage amount here, plus 3 rage amount. You can get up to 16 rage with all our stuff said and done. And then increased rage duration. So that's massive. It's a no-brainer. If you guys don't know what a rage is, it's 1% total attack damage per stack and 1% increase attack speed. That's the unbuffed version of rage. Now remember, these passives are increasing the rage damage and 80% rage effect, right? So we're almost getting 2% damage basically. Not quite, but you know. And then, yeah, so that's the last tier 3 passives for Storm. Over to Warfare. We'll keep going with passives just not to confuse things. Tier 1, weapon proficiency. Because Lightning Bolt scales off of our weapon attack, weapon proficiency increases weapon damage and gives us attack speed. We are not casting a spell, so attack speed is big. The feats we have are attack speed and crit hit chance, 30% increased crit hit chance with weapon attacks, and 8% attack speed. Giga. That's huge, right? So full send it, 12 points. You don't need martial expert. That is physical damage and bleed and stagger chance. We're not doing that stuff. I wish we could use combat rush. We could probably figure out a way, if you took points out of freezing blast, Frost Nova. What's it called? Editor, help me out. If you took points out of Ice Nova and put in points with sweeping strikes and lasting sweep, you could keep up combat rush. Whenever you hit with a melee skill, you get 10% increased damage and 20% increased movement. This scales the more points you put into it, and then you could pick up combat rush, increase 12% weapon damage, right? You could keep that up. When we get more skill points, when more chapters release, this is something we absolutely will probably pick up with this build. But it's a little bit point hungry for now. So just know, in order to activate it, you must be using a melee skill, which we are not at all. So anyways, that's something worth pointing out. So what we do take is marksmanship, 55% increased projectile damage, increased projectile speed, big. That's a no-brainer. And then the 2 feats, increased projectile damage plus speed, and then increased projectile speed and range. It's a no-brainer. It's just flat damage and a duration of the lifetime of a projectile, right? Big. Moving over, Invoker Vord. This one's a little confusing. This one unlocks Spell Rage, which we don't care about. This just means that Rage now affects our spell damage as well, right? It increases our spell damage, which is nice because Lightning Strike is a spell. but it also gives us flat. It also gives us increased attack damage as well. That's the only reason we're really taking it. The casting speed doesn't matter, which is what we took, and then the spell crit hit chance. It's not that it doesn't matter; it just only matters for our lightning strike procs. So if you find better abilities rather than Invoker of War, you can play around with those, and then something else that is necessary. This is unskippable. Tier 2 Battle Rage. Just max it. Don't even think about it. Just max it. 16% increased damage, increased rage effect. With the other one, that's 80% increased rage effect scalars. This one also allows you to have 3 more max rage. And then the other feat is whenever rage overflows, you heal for 10. The healing is like, it's fine. It's like whatever. If you want to play around with rage on kill, early leveling, this one's pretty nice. But there's no mandatory second feat. The rage amount is mandatory. 3 max rage is giga. That means 16 total rage. That's huge. Okay, so after that, there's some free skill points that you can sprinkle around. I just put it at battle hardened. I'm at 6 out of 8. That gives me 60 health, increased health, and armor. We took 1 feat, which is 5% increased health. It's pretty nice. I have no tier 3. I have no tier 3 warfare passives. The Heart of Battle could be good for AoE clear, right? When you're surrounded, basically, you get increased damage up to 12%. It's pretty easy to get to that 12%. There's some enhanced damage in here and enhanced limits, right? That could be nice. If you're missing res, I played around with this for a long time. If you're missing res, thermic and natural res, that's 4. If you don't, the phrasing is confusing. If you're not used to this, that's 4 individual resistances combined into 2 words, thermic and nature res. Let me just show you in your details. If you go to advance, you just scroll down. There's fire, cold, lightning, and poison, right? If you go to the basic and you go thermic, it's fire and cold. Nature is lightning and poison. So you get 2% per point on all 4 of these. So it is nice, right? But you can just cap your res with gear, which is what I did. And if you're playing hardcore and you don't have the gear, pick up these defense nodes. Like, it's pretty nice. Like, you have wiggle room. But with the gear, you just don't need it. And then also second wind, I found I just don't need regen. Even with 2 out of 3 lightning bolt overload charges, I'm just not generating enough overload to really need the regeneration of health. But it's there if you need it. There is a rage node. You get increased health regen per rage. So that could be nice. I just, like I said, didn't find like I needed it. So, all right. So those are our abilities, our passives. Let me just quickly show you our actives in warfare. You can already kind of see there's just like not much. It's all utility. I picked up another movement speed from leap, and I picked up cooldown charge. That's great. You can make it scale off of your weapon. But it requires melee and staff only, so we're just not using that. And then finally, nothing in tier 1. That's our tier 2 stuff. You could pick up Horn. Horn's probably going to be a pickup because of Frail. Yeah, because of Frail. If you can get 3 out of 3 Frail, it's 12 damage resistance. So we'll probably pick that up once you can level up more. But I didn't feel like I needed it. No tier 3 stuff except for battle awareness. And as you're leveling, let's talk about how I have it maxed out right now. 17 out of 17. It's not required, but it's kind of nice. Vitality drain and lifesteal. Maybe out of the scope of this video, but basically I'm just using it for the flat weapon damage. We're not lifestealing at all because of conversion. Okay, I said it was out of the scope. Now we're going to talk about it. This this weapon vitality damage will be dealt as lightning damage because we're converting it. So that means we're not dealing any vitality damage, and that means we're not doing any lifesteal. So that means the 50% increased lifesteal does nothing because we're not lifestealing. So just so you know, the reason we took vitality drain is simply for the flat damage. That's it. So if you are leveling up and you're struggling with resists, just 5 out of 5 enhanced resists. It's easy GG. That is 25 basically all res. That's huge. That is huge, right? Then I also have 1 point in inspiration. A little bit of energy regen goes a long way. You could also pick up health regen. This actually would probably be better if you're giga slamming overload, which I'm only 2 out of 3. If you're full slamming overload, pick up enhanced regen. Otherwise, it's kind of dealer's choice. And then conservation. I can't read. You don't have to max this, but with both of our buffs on, by default, we're at 310 energy. And then that cuts it in half. If you don't have conservation on, this reserves another 100 energy. So it's just expensive. So you're gonna run into slight problems. That's enough energy, right? As we deal damage, that's mostly fine, right? But then when you want to start blinking around and then use energy barrier, you're just like searching for the energy pot a little bit more frequently than you want. So nice utility is conservation. So that's that setup. Those are our skills. We can talk about our gear here for a minute, but it's pretty straightforward. I'm level 40, and while we were leveling, we picked up a Storm Strike. And the awesome thing about that is it's primarily lightning damage, and then it's basically 1/3. Basically 1/3 pierce damage, and then 2/3 lightning damage. So if you don't want to convert it, you don't have to. We are still converting it, but the flat lightning damage at the top is great. Percent lightning damage, great. Some agility, cooldown, movement speed. The big thing, when you generate overload, you get 30% increased crit hit chance for 2 seconds. We are constantly generating overload, so that 2 seconds of crit hit chance is always up. So very, very nice piece. It's not mandatory. There actually are better perfectly rolled affix items. If you get a nice green item with 4 properties, you can get quite a bit. I've seen 89 points of lightning damage, so that actually would be would just be better than this bow. But Storm Strike's awesome. We got it to drop as we were leveling, and we got another one gambling. You got to use it. Cap your res. I like to get health or vigor, ideally both on your chest piece. In this case, we have cold and fire res plus health, and then some strike armor. Again, just cap your res. Nothing else really matters. We did get lucky with a Venom Heart. Super, super lucky here. Let me move out of the way so you can see this. Increased poison damage. We're not doing poison damage. Poison res, nice. Poison flat weapon damage that gets converted into lightning. Ailment chance and ailment power. Not dealing with that. But the increased projectile damage. Remember, lightning bolt is all light projectile damage. So giga strong. Rings, lightning res, vit damage. That gets convert. Lightning res. Poison damage that gets converted, and it's just all about resistances. We haven't really min-maxed for pure damage. There is quite a bit of damage we can get from getting rid of that ailment power and maybe getting crit chance. I think crit chance on both of our rings would be really, really nice. Get rid of your ailment power on both of these rings, ideally. But yeah, we could do pretty good damage. Also, our hat only has 4 properties, so only has 3 properties. Getting your 4th property here would be really nice. But yeah, that's basically our build. Hopefully you guys learned something. I yapped for a lot. editor's got his work to do. Thanks for watching, guys. That's our Tempest. Feels good, boys. GG. See you guys in the next one. Bye. Okay, that's for YouTube. Thanks for watching.